too much fasting would not make you tired. And my testosterone was 1,500 on a fast.
Whoa.
I don't do fasting to lose weight. Welcome to Body by Jim Reyes podcast. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Body by Jim podcast. And I am Jim. Well, Phil, today we're going to talk about the best diet for you. We're going to back into some more fasting talk and competitive bodybuilding after 40.
Oh, wait, that's scary. 40? Okay, so those of us, I'm not, maybe I have reached 40. I kind of get in there. But yes, so we have hope. You mean we have hope to be fit like you? I mean, nobody can be like you, but yes. So I can't wait to dive into that. But absolutely. How do you feel about being back in the studio and recording your second episode?
Well, it's been a long time. I was hoping to be here a little sooner, but it's great. It's great to be back and to get this ball rolling again. Make it happen.
Yes, and you're gonna tease. So you experienced something. I won't give it away for you. There was something you accomplished during this break. And I'm sure we're going to bring that up, but I can't wait till you talk about that. And so I'll just tease that you were a hand model. No, you weren't a hand model, but you were on stage modeling something for some reason. But yeah, so I can't wait.
Definitely. Stay tuned. That's to come. We're going to start off with the best diet for you. What is the best diet for you? So that starts with choosing a diet that's going to fit your goals, body composition, losing weight, or building muscle. So a lot of people pick the wrong goal, the wrong diet for their goals. I
love how you make it very simple. I'm trying. You check in with me once in a while about how am I doing, and I feel like I lost a person, but I lost about 50 pounds, by the way.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm doing the carnivore thing. That's kind of helped me. So you're saying not one diet fits for everybody?
No, you got to think of what's the outcome that gives you is the most value to you. Not everybody wants to walk around being jacked, have a six pack. Some people just want to be healthy, or some people's goal is to live to 120 years old. Is that possible? Maybe it is.
Whoa.
So that would be a different diet than actually a bodybuilder diet.
Well, 120, now that the RFK is doing a lot of those changes with the health, maybe that impact.
You might see a little more of that, right?
I don't know how you could say, not everybody wants a shredded six pack. I've been wanting that my whole life. I have not had one of those. I think one time in high school, I had a 4-pack maybe. And if you squint your eyes with the right lighting and shadow, I just look fatter. Sorry.
Well, when you think of the diets out there, the popular diets out there, there's carnivore, which is very popular now. There's keto, vegan dieting, carb cycling, low fat. What is the right diet for you? As we see in society, people eat too much.
You're not going to say that buffets are bad.
Well, unfortunately, they might be. It might be bad. Unless that's the one meal you're eating a day, possibly you can get away with that.
One meal. Okay, so one meal for the day or one meal for the week, a buffet?
Well, if you're a buffet, that would be the one meal for the day.
Yeah, okay, sure. Okay.
But that's all you would eat, one meal a day, probably on that type of regimen. If you can eat that much at a buffet. The best diet I found for my goals, I'm trying to be healthy and be fit. So the problem with eating all day, and most bodybuilders, and not just bodybuilders, but people, is you're eating carbohydrates all day and your insulin is high all day, chronically high. And insulin inherently isn't bad, but chronically high insulin is. And that's where people run into a lot of health issues. So what I found is a blend of diets that would work better. I actually feel that carb backloading is the best diet, that your insulin is not running high, but you can eat multiple meals during the day if you're trying to grow muscle and be healthy.
I have that struggle, the pre-diabetic, the word diabetes, just scared. I don't have it. I've been taking steps back.
Yeah, a lot of people think of that as your blood sugar. Your blood sugar, eat some food, your blood sugar goes up, and a couple hours later it goes down. But insulin actually stays higher longer, up to maybe 4 hours instead of 2 hours. So by that time, if somebody's thinking they're supposed to eat multiple meals during the day, they're eating and insulin is never getting time to reset and lower. So that's what I meant about chronically high insulin levels. So that's why I find that just saving your carbs for the last meal of the day, which contrary to what a lot of people think, they get up and think you have your oatmeal and you have your carbs in the morning and then they get lower and lower as the day goes on. that is actually backwards.
Wait. Is the carbs later in the day?
Carbs later in the day as your last meal. Hence the carb backloading is the term of that diet, or the name of that diet. And I find that's the best. I actually work out in the morning, so that's even better for people that work out in the morning, because you're fueling that morning workout with that glycogen that you load at night.
So waking up early does count then for that. Okay. So
Not a bad idea.
I thought carbs you have them earlier in the day. You know, so I have spaghetti. That's tortillas. Those are all their bad carbs, I'm sure. But okay, so later in the day. Okay, I'll take a note of that.
Absolutely. All right, Phil, you've been doing the carnivore diet. Tell me how you've liked it, and what are the pluses and minuses from that diet so far for you?
Oh, okay. So of course, when I heard the carnivore, I just think, man, barbecue? Ooh, barbecue. I love meat. I'm more of a meat guy anyways. And it's been very rewarding, but it's been very challenging to keep it going, because I don't know. For one, I really struggled on that starting point. You told me like, okay, go have eggs. I'm like, eggs, okay. And you mean no more Jack in the Box in the morning? I would look forward to Jack in the Box at McDonald's in the morning, and that's where I gained a lot of money. Lost money, gained a lot of weight. But it's been a struggle. I love Costco. I mean, I love that you pointed out that there's some, was it tri-tip, pre-cooked tri-tip, and you just cook it up a little bit. I've struggled because I am not sure what to do. Just like get more meat. What tips do you have for me to kind of take it over the finish line and to make sure I create a habit with it?
Well, to me, carnivore was actually one of the most boring diets that I've done, and I've done them all. I'm the one coach that every diet that I've had people do, I've done. And I don't find them boring, but I did find carnivore boring after a while, but really? Most effective. I found carnivore the most effective at turning health around the fastest. Lowering inflammation, had people with all their allergies went away within 10 days. It's pretty unique compared to all the other diets that I've done, but I don't consider it like a lifetime diet. I think it's as a tool in your toolbox, and you come in and out of it, and there's no reason you can't blend these diets together. Carnivore is real restrictive as far as it's just animal products only. So, I have people cycle through maybe a certain amount of days, and this might help you, Phil, having some days that you do carnivore. Maybe then you have some days of the week that maybe you'll run into a ketogenic type diet where now you can have your salad and your different types of fats, your avocados, whatnot. Then we could roll into something which would be called like an animal base, which is carnivore plus fruit. And that's a lot more enjoyable for some people. And then you could throw in a regular day of eating. Maybe regular, but I would actually prefer better food than real food, possibly. Okay,
real food cooked at home. Yeah, I love that. So you're saying to have certain days. I remember you kind of talking to me. You texted me like, "Hey, start. I like what you're doing, carnivore diet, and I'm like, I don't know if I can continue with it. It was okay. Well, just slow it down. I can paraphrase a little bit here because you still told me like certain days of the week. I'm like, I could do that. Because I think what I was kind of getting overwhelmed. Like, man, meat again. I'm like, okay, I love meat, but I'm like, Doghouse Grill here locally, shout out Doghouse Grill, future sponsor here. Yeah. Has, great meat there. I'm like, I need, to do something, but it's hard to do it every day. But thank you. That helps me to kind of think of a blend. So you're saying the ketogenic diet on other days?
Right. So a keto diet, which is super popular and it's been around for a while, is where you just don't have any carbohydrates. You have a higher fat diet. But then you have vegetables, you have more variety of fats. You can do like nut butters and you can do avocados and things like that. So that kind of gives a little more variety, if you will, than just a carnivore diet.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like that. I've had clients that resisted me in putting them on keto. And then once they did and adjusted, I had a hard time getting them off of that because they felt so good on it. So, you got to find what fits for you and what you like and enjoy also. Sometimes these diets could be like monotonous and it's like a never ending. When's this diet going to end? And that's the struggles people have. But there's no reason you can't blend these diets and have multiple days of doing one and rotate into other ones and cycle. I think it's a better approach and more livable for most people to do it that way.
Yeah, I like that. Hearing you talk about this just reminds me, on a personal note, I have family that's struggling with cancer. And one thing is like they lose a lot of muscle, and how important a couple of things is more protein and then also some kind of form of the ketogenic at certain times to kind of like really help the system because they're going through chemo, the energy level. And I remember them just kind of getting not too personal, but, really struggling with keeping weight and muscle, keeping the muscle. And I've seen a major change with them really focusing on protein. So it's a great thing to do.
Yeah. Outside of, looking good on the beach, muscle helps us to fight disease and to withstand those struggles our bodies goes through when we were faced with things like that. So it's not always just about, looking,
Aesthetics.
having muscle and aesthetics. Yeah. It's very vital to the way we age. And we see more and more of that now. It's coming to the mainstream where strength training and muscle is great for better aging.
Well, let me tell you this. I do want to look good on the beach. I just wear turtlenecks on the beach, trying to make sure to, keep this contained. Just kidding.
Well, they got good prints you can put on those things now. All right, some of the other diets that are really popular is carb cycling. So carb cycling diets are, you come up with a base amount of food you eat, and then you alter that, you cycle that. So it would be like eating higher carbs some days, low carbs to no carbs some days. That way you control your carb intake. Typically your proteins and your fats would stay consistent on that type of diet, and you would just cycle the carbs, like the diet says, carb cycling.
So what is good carbs, bad carbs, or is no difference, or what?
Definitely the difference. Some carbs will load better into the muscle, more glycogen, and sometimes it's an individual thing. I have people that don't do great on sweet potatoes, which is considered a great carbohydrate, and some people just don't. They don't digest them well, and then they do rice, and I've had some people don't do good on rice. Definitely you want more of the unprocessed, more natural type of a carbohydrate that your body's going to utilize better, give you better fuel.
But what do you do like with that for yourself? Is that besides you do the back end carb?
Correct. So I mostly do carb backloading, but there's times that maybe for a week or two that I'll carb up. So my diet's always going to be rotating, cyclically, changing the different types of diets that I do.
Okay. All right. I got to take notes right there. So those listening and watching.
It's definitely not a one size fits all. You got to rotate those diets around.
But you can still have that beach pod soon. Well,
absolutely.
But I want it next week, tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. That's where the fasting comes in.
Oh, okay. All right, no more turtlenecks for me.
So another diet's the low-fat diet. Now, by and large, fats are great for us, but they used to be demonized. But I do, work with so many people, you do discover that some people actually do really good on a low-fat, higher carbohydrate diet. Their body composition changes better, they feel better, they just don't seem to adapt to a low-carb, a higher-fat diet. And that's what we, as a coach, you get with trial and error and seeing the feedback from your clients, and you figure out what works for your client. And I have a few that stand out that they do great on carbohydrates. I have one person he's approaching his 100th pound loss.
Wow.
And during this journey, we've tried to do some almost ketogenic, some backloading, and he thrives on carbohydrates.
Well, that sounds like a unicorn diet for me, because I wish I could do something like that, but that's hard.
I was blessed with a good enough metabolism that any diet worked for me when I was younger. But you don't stay younger if you keep having birthdays, Phil.
Oh, yeah. Those of you with good genes.
Well, now that I'm older, though,
yes.
So I do seem to do a lot better on a low-carb, high-fat type of diet.
The good fats, though.
The good fats, of course.
Okay, what's good fat and bad fat, or is that?
So again, fats were the demon, right? They were the bad guys. But fats like butter, a little bit of saturated and unsaturated fats. Oils are great as long as they're like olive oil, macadamia nut oil. Obviously no seed oils. We don't want that in there. And then eating good quality animals, eating the fat, which a lot of people think, oh, you got to trim the fat off. If you're eating good quality animals, organic, grass-fed, pasture-raised, then the quality of that fat is going to be great for you too. And that's the best way to get your collagen is by eating that type of fat.
Now, I've heard it tell me with the fats, like the oils you mentioned, I've seen TikToks, and they said, try this oil, like avocado oil. But they kind of research and they see it's actually, there's some bad ones that look healthy, but if you read the back of the label, is it very, very important for us to read the back of the label?
Absolutely. Yes. You're going to find that some of those might even be, mostly avocado oil, but they have canola oil in them, which is a seed oil. That's terrible. So yeah, definitely want to read the label. I would stick with oils that we know are going to be consistently better, like real olive oil would be a lot better for you. Cooking in tallow, using tallow in your food, which is lard, some organic lard, and butter. Actually, butter or ghee butter are the best things to use when you want to either cook or use those type of fats.
I just picture those of you remember the manteca, the Crisco. That's what you're talking about, right?
No, I'm not talking about that.
So a lot of us men have had, I know I've had a hard time going to the doctor and doing that blood work. You really advocate for getting those blood works. And what are some of those things that we should look for? Because it's not just like, okay, you have diabetes, don't have diabetes. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so of course they're going to check your A1C. That's the big thing they check is in your blood sugars. But they rarely check just for insulin. What is your resting insulin doing? And when you have multiple meals all day, like so many people believe that's what you're supposed to do. And actually, if you're trying to be an athlete or a bodybuilder, for sure, you definitely need to eat multiple meals. But not everybody needs to do that. If that's not your goal, you should not be eating 5 meals, 6 meals a day, because you're going to have your insulin chronically high all day, which again is very problematic for your health. So that's why I say, that's why the carb backloading, I think, is a great tool if you're going to eat multiple meals. That way you can almost have the best of both worlds. You can eat enough to build muscle, and you could get your insulin to reset and not be chronically high all day.
Okay, so we're here now in the holiday season, Thanksgiving and Christmas. There's a lot of get-togethers, parties, church gatherings, family, friendsgiving, all these things. So what do you say to those of us who struggled with the third portion? I mean, the second portions. I don't have thirds or fourths sometimes, but.
Well, there's a few strategies you can try to implement during the holidays. Definitely the going into let's say it's a Saturday. So maybe do I eat super low on Friday, or do I come out of it trying to do some damage control and eat lower after the festivities? Almost like that, try to balance out the good and the bad, because you don't want to be left out and everybody's eating and you're, if that's something that you would enjoy to do. I have no problems not doing that, but that's different. I've been doing this my whole life, so it's a little bit different for me.
Yeah, you have the luxury. You get to do that. But.
Yeah, people kind of accept it. They don't pressure me. They just know that's my lifestyle of eating. But the damage control is probably the best bet, or being a sampler. Don't load your plate up. Just sample a little bit of everything. That
reminds me of Costco samplers.
Right, yeah. There you go.
So sample, indulge. Now, let me ask you this behind the scenes. So, your last name is Reyes. So, I mean, does anything sound too good? Like tamales or what's your one? The almighty Jim Reyes. What's your weakness there? Come on, confess now. You're human.
Well, I'm actually a foodie. You've heard that term. I love all food. I don't discriminate. So, but if I had to say if I turned it loose and just overindulge, I like sweets.
Also sweets.
So yeah, it's not going to be the tamales or anything else. My Hispanic name is actually, I'm of Puerto Rican origin, so I grew up eating pasteles instead of tamales. So
okay.
So I didn't have my first tamale till I was in my mid-20s.
What? That was an emotional abuse.
I would give it to you. They definitely are good.
Yeah, I just had to ask that because we're here in the precipice of holiday season, and I just wondering what Jim Reyes goes through, and so sweets, right? So I know what to get.
But
you
I
now.
must say, Phil, but I do have that under control. It's not like I'm out of control.
That's good.
I can say no, but if I don't, I definitely like sweets.
Okay, I like that.
It comes down to choices, right, Phil?
That is true. I appreciate that because you remind me on those choices, and thank you for helping me go through mine.
So I showed you how to eat. Now I'm going to show you how not to eat. Fasting. I am considered probably the bodybuilder that fasts So I do guide a lot of people on fast. And I just recently, a couple of weeks ago, did a guided fast, a group this time. I usually do guide people one-on-one through fasts, but I decided to put it together a group. So there was 5 of us, and I took them on that journey with me to fast.
All right. I remember you telling me, Philip, you are up on the next fast. And I'm like, okay, that's scary because I just hear the word don't eat, and you were explaining the benefits of fasting. And tell us about that, the group fast, and how does that work, and how can we get through it?
So a lot of people are afraid of fasting. It does seem scary. You have to start somewhere. I've been fasting for over a decade, but I started with like a day and then a weekend and then multiple weekends we'd fast and kind of learning. Your body knows how to do this. It was set by your creator, but we still have to kind of teach the body how to do that and how to tap into yourself for fuel. And I think people think, oh, I'm going to be hangry. I'm going to be, I'm going to be lightheaded. I'm going to pass out. They don't realize that your body is set up to do this and built for this. So when I did this fast, I had some people that had never done this long of a fast. We did a 5-day. And some people said, well, I've done like 24 or 48. So it was overwhelming how great people did and how great they felt. And how they weren't hungry. So contrary to what people think. So when autophagy kicks in, and I've used that word when I'm fasting and explain that word, that's your body starting to fix cells, your body feeding itself. So your body knows exactly what you need to eat. So it feeds you exactly what you need. So that's why you're not hungry and your energy starts to go higher. Now your body has time to do some cleaning. It's the ultimate like reset to me, kind of like house cleaning inside. Yeah. And every 3 to 5 days, your body replaces all your cells in your digestive system, all the lining of your digestive system. But how much more efficient it's done during fasting, where your body is not digesting anything and it has to really get down there and clean out your body that way.
Okay, so I have a question here. So for someone maybe over 40 who's never fasted more than 16 hours, because you're promoting some good challenges here, what would you think is a great or safe on-ramp to get that 3 to 5 day fast without losing muscle necessarily?
Well, that's another thing. Being a bodybuilder, a lot of people go, oh, he's fasting. He should at least take a protein drink so he doesn't lose all his muscle. Which I go, well, that's not fasting if I'm drinking protein drinks, is it? So your body has an ability to protect muscle. So that's why your body, some of the unique things that happen that people don't realize is your IGF-1 naturally goes up. Your body starts to protect your lean mass. And oddly enough, I did a long fast, and it was even shocking to me. I had some blood work done on day 13 of a 14-day fast and not taking any hormones. I was over the age of 50, and my testosterone levels, if you're familiar with male testosterone levels, again, not enhanced, not taking anything. My testosterone was 1,500 on a fast.
Whoa, 1,500. That's, I'm not going to tell you mine.
Right.
I think I'm a hobbit or something.
Well, I do a TRT, and with the doctor, we try to keep my levels around 900. So think about that. So coming off of everything, not taking any hormones, and my testosterone got up to 1,500 during a fast. So your body is healing, repairing, and doing its magic of the fast.
That's a beast. I'm telling you that now. That's the Hulk right there coming to smash. I have a question here, I guess, from some clients or some DMs here, kind of filtering through them. Some women in the audience will maybe ask, it's kind of a common thing, does this fasting approach work in the same, kind of post-menopause, or do they need to adjust?
Well, first you have to get to that. You don't just jump in on a fast. You got to prepare yourself, prepare your mind, prepare your body. I like to put people on a ketogenic diet. So, because if you reduce the carbohydrates or take them out, you're going to get into a ketogenic state and not rely on your blood sugar. Then you're on the doorstep of fasting anyway. So just to stay tomorrow, I'm going to start a fast and not eating, and maybe the night before you have a bunch of pasta. That's going to make that fast even more miserable for you. Day one is always the toughest. That's when your body's really, the first 24 hours, your body's really depleting the glycogen. So if I go ahead and get myself in a ketogenic diet, or who I'm helping, then the transition into fasting is so much easier for you.
Wow. That's good stuff there. So I have another one here. In the process, refeeding, kind of coming off the fast. What's kind of one of the refeeding mistakes that you see people make that wipes out half the benefits of a long fast?
Well, depending on how long your fast is, your digestive system starts to get, your kind of gets a little dormant and shuts down. Your body is not in growth mode. It's in health and repair mode. So I've heard, and I haven't heard of any of my clients because I guide them on how to break the fast, but I've heard people break a fast by going and slamming a whole large pizza or doing something like that. And some of them will end up in the ER on a case like that. Your body's just not ready to do it. Your mind wants it, but your body's like, whoa, wait a minute.
Wow, that pizza sounded good right now. My stomach didn't growl on the microphone, hopefully. But okay, so I have another question here. So how do you know if chronic fatigue or low libido is too little food versus too much fasting?
Too much fasting would not make you tired. Actually, you get energy. When you don't eat enough food, you'll definitely get tired. You're tired, you're hungry. But like I said, when you're fasting, your body knows what you need to eat and how much, and it feeds you off of you. That's what our fat cells are for. Your body will start using that and start tapping into yourself and knows exactly what you need to eat.
And stem cell production sounds amazing, right? Mm-hmm. But how do you personally measure or feel that is actually happening?
Well, so when autophagy, that's when your body starts feeding yourself. So that's how you're going to know. Your body does that all the time, even when you're not fasting. Autophagy is part of our whole system. But when you fast and you start getting that energy, that means your body is really getting into a deeper autophagy, feeding your body. And like I said, your energy goes up. You're not hungry anymore because you are eating. Your body is eating. It's feeding. All right. So I did see a very popular bodybuilding podcast, big fan of him too, talk about fasting and how he thought it was a horrible thing for a bodybuilder to do. He said, if you want to lose weight, we already know how to lose weight. We just could eat less, do more cardio. He obviously was not thinking of the other benefits. I don't do fasting to lose weight. I do fasting to heal my body, reset my body. And I think that's the mistake. It's, in bodybuilding, it's always growth mode, but you can't always be. Sometimes you have to step back. Some people do enhanced athletes will do like a clean out, if you will, or a cruising cycle. But this is a way to heal your body also. This is a cruising or a reset of your body. And you can't always be in growth mode. Sometimes you need to be in healing and repair mode. And that's where fasting comes in. It's not just a tool for weight loss. There's way more to fasting than just losing weight.
What do you know in regards to this? Is that why you think the spiritual, some people who are those of faith fast because it's a spiritual submission of the body saying kind of realignment overall?
That's a great point. On my long fast, I've done, my longest has been the 14-day. It does feel like a spiritual journey. The way your body gets so clear and cleansed in your thinking and your creativity, it's at a high level, at a level like that I've never experienced outside of fasting. After the fast, that does maintain for a while. It'll take a few months till you kind of like gunk everything up with eating again, I guess.
So it means basically saying that a spiritual, it's there's so much cleansing that's happening physically that for me, I'm a man of faith. And, I go to church. I'm a church going guy. And I know we're taught, like, when you fast, you are not starving the body to lose weight. You're actually growing spiritually because you're changing the focus of what you're trying to do. You're having a purpose and why you're doing it. So that's kind of how I see it. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good way to put it. Competitive bodybuilding after 40. Can you still get on stage and be competitive after 40?
Oh, I love this, what you're talking about now, because you have some secret things you've been doing on this break of episode. You competing in here? Is that true? So I just remember.
So I actually did, Phil. I dusted it off. I was the young guy in the old group this year. So I go, why don't we do that? I've bodybuilded since I was right out of high school. Decided to. I played 1 year of college football, and I just kind of fell in love with the lifting. In between, we would lift to get ready for football, and pretty soon I liked the lifting better. I did my first show at 21 years old. And now, you fast forward, I just competed at 60 years old, Phil.
Okay, now here's you at the younger version, right? That's behind you. And we got this one here. Okay, who's this guy?
Man, yeah, like I said, I dusted it off and seen if I could get in that kind of shape, and it worked out.
Crazy.
So
Mr. Producer, do you see what's going on this guy right here? How did he come about? You thought about it. You hit 60 and like you're going to do it again. He went on stage.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, like I said, I started competing when I was in my 20s. I had my really good run in my late 30s. The picture you've seen before that. And then, it was always just a hobby for me though. So, but I've always kind of still lived the lifestyle. So I competed at 50 and said, okay, that's it. 50 is it. I'm going to stop. But I still had the desire and still loved it. So I was like, let's just keep it going. Let's just dust it off. When I was approaching 60, actually coming off of a fast, I went right into a contest prep. And where that is going to be something I do again, I think, for my contest prep next year. I'm going to do it cycling off of a fast right into a contest prep. And it was great. It was a great reset and ready to roll right into it. It was one of my best preps. Even at this age, of course, it was a lot harder at 60 to get in the kind of shape and carry the muscle that I carried when I was younger. But it was a great experience. So I'm sure we could have a whole episode, right? You talking about just the prep itself. Can you share a quick little nugget? Believe in the process. You have a coach, and I coach a lot of people for competitions and for weight loss, weight gain. But there's a process to it. And sometimes you have to take a left and take a right, and you keep chopping at it, and there's not one way to do this. I've competed again since the 80s. Is that 5 decades, Phil, of competitions?
Wow.
So I've done it in a lot of different ways.
I wasn't born yet.
Yeah, I've tried to do diets, multiple different types of diets, just experimenting. There's some years I would do like 6 shows, 7 shows, and I would just purposely do something different just to learn and see how my body reacted to it. Which gave me the know-how and the experience to still be able to do that at this age.
All right, so for those of you watching, I'm going to hijack this little moment here to take a little time to promote bodybygymreyes.com. You need to visit bodybygymreyes.com because he has a lot of services for those of you maybe want to contest prep. Right? Is that how you say it? Mm-hmm. Okay, and then also too, you have a lot of other packages there that you will be the Yoda. You'd be the Padawan to the Yoda here. So make sure you go bodybygymreyes.com. You have a lot of information, of course, here, news, upcoming episodes, and you can learn from the great Jim Reyes, right?
Absolutely. I'm ready for you. We talked about a lot of different topics, the right diet, fasting, and bodybuilding as you get older. We covered a lot of information, and in the next episode, we're going to talk about how much do you really need to train, injury prevention and rehab, and your gut health. How does that play a role in your energy? For those of you who have reached 40 or plus 40, and maybe your goal isn't to be on stage, but you want to be your best you and get in shape, that's definitely possibilities. It's not out of the ordinary to do that. We've had people in their 40s lose actually 100 pounds and get on stage. Again, it's not everybody's goal, but you can be the best you, even in your older years. So see you next time on Body by Jim Reyes podcast.